So guys, we've got something a little bit different for you today. We have a 992 GT3, as you can see sitting behind me there. It's getting ready to go on the dyno. What we're going to do is do some base runs, and then we're going to be tuning it. So make sure you stay locked in and stay watching.
So behind me, guys, we had a customer turn up today. We're just fitting tech art and intake, well, tech art bonnet, tech art rear spoiler, and an intake kit onto it, our own intake. We put it on the dyno to see what the car was doing. It wasn't doing what it should be. It was dropping power in the mid-range. It's recently had an exhaust and tune by another company. So yeah, we put it on the dyno first. Figured out that, because he said the car felt like the clutch was slipping, but what was actually happening, the car was holding back in the mid-range until we got into fourth gear and it started pulling again. So yeah, we found out on the dyno what the actual issue is. It's just dropping, like, compared to our tunes, about 110 to 120 wheel horsepower just in the mid-range, which is absolutely crazy. So yeah, so he said, look, let's do a tune and that on it. He's then been hanging around a little bit, and then he ended up going hybrid turbos and CSF intercoolers. So he's going for our ES800 kit. So he's going to have our the CSF intercoolers, the ESMOTOR intake kit, and our ES 1 XXX turbos. So yeah, they're good for like just over 1100 brake horsepower. So yeah, ES800 incoming. He's also having some H&R lowering springs, which are done. Just needs to finish fitting them. And then yeah, carbon bonnet, carbon spoiler. It come in looking bog standard as we're going out, looking like a mean machine with a load of mean power. So yeah, ES800 incoming. So all I'm doing at the moment is just changing his actuators and his wastegate control. So, because it's electronic wastegate on these, which is this here, there's a bypass flap that's already built into the turbo, so it's internal wastegate. So as you can see here, this is it here. So this is what holds the wastegate pressure and opens and closes via the tune, obviously. And this one here is for his VTG, so this is to do with the boost as well. So this opens the VTG inside the turbo. So yeah, I've got to swap his OEM ones onto the new turbos. Then I'll do a adaptation for the turbos, so it reads, so everything's working exactly the same as it should do. Once I've done that as well, I'll do the throttle adaptation, because we're putting a whole new kit and a whole new firmware on the car now. We need to make sure all the adaptations are done properly, the car likes what it sees, and then we can go from there. So yeah, put these on, box it up, 800 wheel, test on the road, another happy customer.
So guys, we had Eddie come down in his 992 Turbo S. So this Turbo S actually came in for some suspension upgrades and a few other cosmetic bits. But while he was here, he had some issues with the current tune on the car, and he wasn't too sure about what power it was making because the other dyno couldn't run the car. So there were some issues with lag, power delivery, and he felt it was a bit flat compared to how it should be. We put it on the dyno and it made a healthy a peak power figure of 719 at the wheel. So it's on par with these ES700s in terms of the peak power. However, there is a caveat. So what we did is we thought, let's have a look to see what's going on in terms of this lag that he's feeling, or lack of power. So we did a comparison. We put up one of our 700 graphs compared to his. As you can see, the yellow is the ES700. That from our customer compared to his. So the main difference you'll see straight away is that the torque comes in a little bit earlier, but it's a peak and then it dies off straight away after that. However, in the mid-range, if you look from 4,000 onwards, the power difference starts becoming quite vast, and this is where you're mainly driving your car on boost. You know, it's going to be in the mid-range, and there's over it's up to 100 wheel horsepower difference there in the mid-range, which is quite a large difference when it comes to driving the car, and hence why this car probably would have been pretty slow in terms of dragging. So I mean, he was a bit unhappy with that. However, we had some parts in stock, and after speaking to him and with him going out in a couple of our cars, he decided to go for our ES800 package, and that ended up with making 804 wheel horsepower. So that's 950 horsepower at the crank. But what I want to show you guys as well is look at the power delivery. The torque we have kept low because it's a non-methanol car with bigger turbos, and also it's nice and safe as well. But if you look at that torque curve, it is really flat and it comes in nice and gradually. Peak torques at 5,600 RPM. This car is going to be used on track, so it's not a street car. I mean, it is, as in like, it is a street car, but it's not a drag race car, you know. So it's going to be a car that's going to be used for all purposes and on track as well. So that it was key to ensure that that torque curve isn't spiking up here and coming down, which is just going to affect traction big time, but it comes in nice and gradually, and in turn a power delivery like that translates to a very fast car. Now for some guys, you just might be looking at numbers and thinking, you know, it's all the same, what difference does it make? But it makes a difference in terms of your end result. So if you have a car that's very torquey down low, it might feel fast and then feel like it's flattening off, but it's also going to be quite slow in terms of numbers, because you might be getting that big hit of torque down low and your 0 to 60 is going to be dead, your 60 foot's going to be dead, and so your quarter mile's not going to be as what it should be. Whereas a setup like this, the power comes in much more gradually and you get a faster car as a result of it as well. So, so yeah, Eddie was very happy with that in the end. And it just goes to show that, look guys, if you're going to be tuning your car, make sure that they at least have the proper equipment to tune. We obviously use the Pro Hub mainline hub dyno, and not only is this 100% accurate for any car, it is even more so for the Porsches. And on top of that, yeah, like Danny's saying in the background, look guys, if you want to tune a Porsche, there's only one place to come, and that is ESMOTOR. There's a lot of people who are trying to jump on the bandwagon now and tune these cars, but this is what we do day in, day out. We specialize in these cars, so we know exactly what we're doing with them. We're not trying to do 5 different brands at once, or try and do like every single car out there. We are just ensuring that what we do, we are the best in that, and we are ensuring that the customer and end user is getting the best possible service and the best possible tune for your car. So yeah, if you've got a 992 or any type of Porsche, you want it tuned, hit us up.
60, 100, 200, quarter mile.
So today,
Fuck. It's
I'm
actually
going-
terrifying.
is it?
Halloween's gone, man.
Oh, okay, right, let's put that away. So I'm currently in, well, you can't see the car right now, but I'm in the back of a Cayenne. I've stripped all the rear seats out because I've been fitting a fuel system to the car. So I've fitted the high pressure pumps in. I'm just doing all the fuel controller for the low pressure side.
Which car?
This is the Cayenne Turbo S E-Hybrid, big power.
The Mansouri one, the one that they
Yeah, the Mansouri. Well, I was getting to that, man. Like, why'd you got to cut me in for? I was actually getting to that part. It's just the build up.
Cool.
Yeah, the Mansouri one. But yeah, so I've done all the wiring now. Everything's all done. I've just got to change 2 more map sensors on the intake manifold now. Get them sorted out as well. And then we can run the car. But I'm just currently finalising the MEF now, where to mount the tank. So this is the custom tank we've had done for this car. This here, the wire that you see now, that's just for the level sensor. It's a fully sealed unit, so people can use these obviously as fuel cells as well, but this is a 20 litre tank for MEF, so this thing's going to be, yeah, we're aiming for the 1,000 brake horsepower, so this is going to be the ES Stage 3 Cayenne Turbo S Mansouri edition. So yeah, this is where I am now. That part is all done. You can't really see much in the engine bay because obviously you've got the big air filter, but if I took that off, you can see there, high pressure pumps, bank 1 and bank 2, all new fuel lines because bigger flow, so it needs more flow, so the fuel lines are bigger. Yeah, and then obviously the fuel controller for the low pressure side, which is for the pumps inside the tank. And then yeah, then obviously the MEF as well. So this was probably pushing around about 850, 880 brake horsepower. So yeah, we're going to push this up now to 1,000 brake horsepower. So yeah, I mean, already on this car, he's got a straight through system. So he had sports cats originally. Now we put D-cats on it. He's already got a straight through system on the car. I believe it was from Mansory themselves. Not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, we're just going to go mental on this car and see what we can get out of it. So our aim is to try and get into the 500s to 200s. But a very low 6 in this big weight car with this big body kit and these big wheels, it's going to be amazing. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this car actually does, because look, it's an SUV. And what SUVs do you know that 1,000 brake horsepower that can do like low 6 seconds or high 5s, 100, 200. So yeah, stay tuned on this one, because it's going to be mental.
Right guys, so stock power figures are in, and it made exactly what Porsche quoted. It made 450 horsepower at the wheels. Now this is a rear wheel drive car, so the losses to the crank are less than what they are on the Turbo S's. So we calculate a 10% loss on this, and it brings it up to an exact 500 horsepower figure. So, so yeah, it's doing exactly what it should do. What we're gonna do now is remove the ECU. Ryan's just taking it out now. So then we can take a read and then start tuning it. The GT3s and the GT3 RSs cannot be tuned as of yet via the OBD. The actual ECU has to be removed, and it does need to be bench read and then flashed accordingly. For those guys who get worried about warranty issues or returning the car back to stock, when we tune them ourselves, they don't actually leave any flag markers in the ECU, so they can be returned to stock without any detrimental issues or anything like that for anyone wanting to extend the warranty. But yeah, we're going to do that now. Let's get a stage 1 on it and see exactly what we can make. Right guys, so this is the GT3 ECU. As you can see, it's not very big, and with it all closed, there's not much to it either. So what we need to do with this is take a bench read. Now what that means is we'll have to connect to the pins over here. There's multiple pins. So we will need to connect certain pins to that, so then we can communicate to the ECU, take a read out of there, and then from that read we will then, or Emery will then build the file according to that car. So that car right now we're starting with a stage 1. So it'll be completely 100% stock, just 99 fuel in it, and then we have some of our catless headers ready to go in for a stage 2. But we're going to do it in stages. This week we're going to show you what the stage 1 is capable of. So then you guys who don't want your exhaust modifications, you can see what's capable, you know, the potential of that car on some 99 fuel when it's tuned to get a bit better. So we'll do that right now and then show you how it works. So it's just, the ECU is just being read right now, so it's extracting all the data from the ECU, so then we'll be able to see exactly everything that's inside of there, modify it, and then it will get reloaded back on in the same way. So guys, just to clarify, on the Turbo S models, the ECU is not tuned in its way, it is actually via the OBD. So with those cars, we can plug our diagnostic, our tuning device into the car, and download the ECU data through the OBD. With the 992 GT3 and GT3 RS, that's not the case, and it has to be individual per ECU. So Emre has created a file. We're gonna load that on to the ECU now. Load the modified file back onto the ECU. Once that's complete, we'll put the ECU back in the car and run it back up and see what power we need. So guys, as part of our tuning process, we custom tune all our vehicles. Now what that means is it's not just a one flash on your car, off the shelf map and away you go. We put our first revision on the car and we live log it to see how the car reacts. And then we will make more changes and continue to do so until we're happy and then the final power figure is reached. So that's just our base tune on the car. The logs are being reviewed at the moment, and then we'll continue to edit the file, which will be a process of a few hours, some longer time on the dyno, and then then we'll show you what the final figures are in the end.
2 hours later.
So guys, we are done with this 992 GT3 in the first phase of the tuning, which is our stage 1 setup. So the figures were 476 wheel horsepower on 317 foot-pound of torque. It's obviously not a lot compared to the turbo cars in terms of a gain. However, it will be substantial when it comes to driving the car, because if I show you the difference between the stock file, one second, let me get the others gone. Okay, so you can see the stock graph there is in green, and the yellow is the now new power figure. So it's making power right down from the bottom over 20 wheel horsepower all the way to the top, where it's up here is 27 odd 28 wheel horsepower difference as well. So that's literally all the way through. You can see the bottom low down torque as well is much better. That's highly improved as well. So in terms of gains, it's around about 27 wheel horsepower gain. So that works out to be roughly, with a 10% loss, around about 30 horsepower. So it's running 530 at the crank now. In terms of how that translates to on the road, we'll find out very soon.